Why, hello there, Rip City. Welcome. Against the Clippers, I thought it was very, very weird how that one played out because it was interesting that the Clippers went out there and they just hammered the Blazers. I mean, the Blazers didn't have a chance, didn't have anything they could do really, as the Clippers just would try to get them with their knockout punch, right? And they would land a couple of them, and in normal circumstances, you'd be like, uh-oh, here you go, this young team's going to fold. But this Blazers team did not fold. Every single time the Clippers sent them back to their corner where they were going to go see their corner man and they were going to try to, you've seen Rocky, like, throw in the towel, right? No, this team didn't. They came back out and got some knockout punches of their own. They had a counter for every single thing the Clippers threw out them. And I don't think the Clippers expected this young team to go do that. And when it was all said and done, the Blazers grabbed the 106-105 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers in the brand new Intuit Dome down there in Los Angeles. This was is a great game. I mean, this was one of the best games of the year outside of that game number 3 against the Pelicans where they just got out to the early lead, never looked back, and won big. But this game was a whole different kind of game. This was a game where you came out, and again, you answered the bell. When you were punched, you punched back, and that's exactly what you wanted to see if you're a Blazer fan. So good job for the Blazers to go out there and do what they need to do to, I think, surprise a lot of people and get the victory in Los Angeles. Man, this I just loved it. And I think one of my favorite parts about this game in particular was that it was the young players that went out and got the job done. There was minimal minutes, but in those minimal minutes, they made an impact. And I think one of the biggest impacts was Rayon Rupert. He played just 7.5 minutes, but he had 7 points in those minutes, was everywhere you needed him to be defensively, made the big plays. He was praised by Coach Billups after the game. Speaking of which, we'll hear from Coach here in about 15 minutes' time. But no, when he went in there and got the minutes, he took advantage of it. And you got to think over the games, he got in the first game, then he didn't get in the second game. Jabari got some minutes, and then Jabari's had the run the last few games, and in this one, the minutes went back to Rupert. And again, Rupert took advantage of it, and you love to see that. Donovan Clingan, on the other hand, he played just 11 minutes. He did get into early foul trouble, so that one does explain the limited minutes there. He ended the night with 4 fouls. But 7 points, 6 rebounds, and a blocked shot in 11 minutes of action, like that is just incredibly efficient. Like you can't even ask him to do any better than that. That's just so nice to see to come out, and then it makes you excited for what's going to happen when he starts to get the 17, 18, 20-minute nights. You would think that he would start to really fill up those box scores. Right now, his per 36s would be 14 minutes, 10 rebounds, or excuse me, that's just defensive rebounds. His per 36 right now, 13.7 points, 16.6 rebounds, and 5.1 blocks. And a steal in there to boot. That's his per 36 numbers. Granted, those are buoyed because, it's taken the short stretch of minutes that he is and see what it would be like in 36 minutes. I don't know if it would be quite that impressive, but that is something else. I mean, he'd be getting double-doubles if he were playing 20-plus minutes a night. That's without question. Again, so efficient with those minutes, and overall would be shooting incredible numbers as well, because he's shooting 62% from the floor right now, 1 for 1 from 3. So can we put a feather right there? Yeah, 1,000%, or the 100% three-point shooter, which is pretty nice, So again, Clingan, I think, has been so impressive this early season. I just want him to get more minutes. How that ends up shaking out over the long run, your guess is as good as mine. There's still a lot of moving parts, but man, 11 minutes and to have 7 and 6, I'll take that every single day. Scoot Henderson, he had 14 points off the bench. He had 6 assists as well, 3 turnovers, which is better than the preseason game when he had 7 against the Clippers, so I like that performance from him. He's starting to get a little bit more judicious in when he makes those passes and takes those shots. He only took 8 shots, made 5 of them. So it was a good night for him shooting, which you love to see. In the starting lineup, 13 points from Denny Avdia and 10 rebounds. His first double-double with the Trailblazers. So he's starting to round into form a little bit, getting used to playing with these guys. And that's, again, something you love to see, right? And everywhere else you look, they did what they were supposed to do. I know that like Anthony's time was 25 points. Yep, that's exactly what you want from him. 12 points, a rebound and an assist from Toumani Camara. Again, all over the floor defensively. He does a lot of things that aren't going to show up on the box score, but it was a great game from him. And then I think the impressive one here was DeAndre Ayton, who had 15 and 12, marking his 5th straight double-double to start the season. Only one other Blazer has done so to start the season, and that is Bill Walton. It has happened 4 times total starting the season with 5 straight double-doubles or more. 3 other times it was Bill Walton. Like that's the run that Ayton's on to start the season. So you like to see that. No complaints there whatsoever. Great performance from him. Shout out to everyone else who's having fun watching this as well. If you want to join the conversation, get in on it, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can come talk to me there. Or you can go to twitter.com or X, whichever one you want to call it, type in Chris J. Burkhardt. Send me some of your comments and concerns about this upcoming game. But let's go back to the Clipper game for a second, because I just love the bounce back. I think when we posted on the Rip City Radio socials in the morning, like, can the Blazers get a bounce back win after that loss in Sacramento? People are like, nope, they're playing a playoff team. They're a rebuilding team, and they went in there and they got a win. Any single time you can go into an arena, especially one like the Intuit Dome where the paint is still drying, right? And you can make 17,000 people walk out the door with their head down wondering how their team lost that game. It was a good day. It was an absolutely good day, right? And the Blazers did that. Now, on the Clippers side of things, I find it funny because like half their team is former Blazers. Former Blazer Derrick Jones Jr. had 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists in this one. Former Blazer Nicola Batum had 5 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. And former Trailblazer Norman Powell led the way for the Clippers with 30 points on 11 of 22 shooting, including 5 of 10 from deep. He also had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Ivica Zubac had 12 rebounds and 6 points. James Harden, a 10 assist, 19-point double-double. So he's just out there doing James Harden things. The other thing I thought was really impressive from this game, fans, was the rebound numbers. Now, you look at the total rebounds. The Blazers had 47 total rebounds to the Clippers' 49. And that might not be impressive at first glance, but what I liked about that was the fact that the Blazers came into the game as a top 10 rebounding team in the league. And that makes sense when you got Donovan Clingan, DeAndre Ayton, Kumara, like all these guys who can light it up, right? But they hadn't faced a top 10 rebounding team to that point, right? So the Kings, the Pelicans, the Warriors, they were not top 10 rebounding teams. The Clippers were the first team that they were facing that was in the top 10. They came in number 7. So I thought it was going to be a really good battle to see if this was real, if this team is really starting to use their size and be more aggressive on the glass, or it was just a product of playing teams that weren't as good on the glass. And when they played the Clippers, they stayed right there, just lost that rebound battle by 2, which is absolutely respectable, 47-49. We're not out-hustled on the glass, and that one is something that I think you can definitely put that feather in your cap and build on that. Now they get to play against the Thunder tonight, who have Chet Holmgren, who's going to light that up, Williams, who's going to light that up, a bunch of guys who can definitely fill up the box score when it comes to the rebounding and block shots, all that stuff, right? So the Blazers are going to be challenged in that aspect once again, and I would love to see those rebound numbers stay close once again like they did against the Clippers. I thought that was a really, really good kind of building block of sorts for this team. So kudos to the team for putting in some work. You like when that work pays off. Now, in fact, the Oklahoma City Thunder, also a top 10 rebounding team at 46.8, so it's going to be a test for your Portland Trailblazers. Man, I just like that game. There's not a lot I can say about it outside of the fact that I was just impressed. I was impressed with the team that took shots to the face and found ways to counterpunch and stay fighting. And when you stay fighting, That's when you have a chance. Lesser teams, I think, would have rolled over in that game when Norman Powell's going off and Harden is throwing those assists. I also think for a team as young as this, I mean, even a Donovan Clingan, I mean, when you look across the court and you see a guy like James Harden, right, multi-time All-Star, one of the faces of the league, a guy who, was just a shot or two away from dethroning the Warriors when he was with the Rockets, right? And you see these guys, or Zion comes into town, and you see J.J. McCollum, and you don't waver. You're like, sweet, let's take this challenge. That's something you can build on. That shows the fight that the team has and these young guys have. Jonathan Clingan again being one. We talked about him a second ago on Rip City Drive. Like that guy is a fighter. He does not back down from anything, and you love to see that. And again, man, when you go into another team's stadium and you knock them off and you don't waver and you play your game and you get a dub when nobody thought you were going to get one, that's a good day to be a Blazer. It absolutely is. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to head on down to the coach's corner, go down and hear what Chauncey Billups has to say down in the media room as we get you ready for this Blazers versus Thunder game here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website.
guy. Maybe he was wrong. But Chet's been great, hasn't he? He's been absolutely phenomenal out there all season long, turning into one of the best players in the league. And you couple him with, you know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and watch out, man. Things are going to be nasty anytime you got to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be for sure. Let's listen to Coach.
Following up on the Clippers game with Roops, he gets that short burst, 7.5 minutes. Beyond the development stuff, do you think that's a combination of development and empowerment? Because he was doing stuff in that 7 minutes that he really wasn't either capable or empowered to do last year. Like, where do you kind of see that with Roops and where he's at right now?
Yeah, he's, I say this all the time, Roops is the hardest worker on our team, man. So a lot of that is his development, the things that he works on, the things that we've talked about, or we need him to see that type of improvement. And anybody that I see that works that hard, most times I'm not gonna be too hard on them because I know what they work on. I know the commitment that he shows, that he has. So more than anything, I wasn't surprised at all. I was more happy for him than anything, for him to just come in and have such an impact in a small amount of time. But those are the type of things that will become like normal for him at some point, as he continues to work and as he continues to get older.
It seems like the last spot in the rotation has been juggling between Rupert and Walker. Is it just like a feel thing going into each game at that spot, or with matchups? How are you deciding that? Yeah,
it's a feel thing, to be honest with you. Depends on the matchups. It depends on how the other guy played, For instance, at halftime of the last game, I wasn't crazy about how Barry was playing. And I knew that team wasn't very big. Roops could probably impact the game. So just a feel thing, to be honest with you, So we'll see. It'll be probably nimble all year, as we have guys coming in, leaving out of the rotation, hurt, healthy, not, it'll always kind of be that way.
And you also said you celebrated Ryan in the locker room.
Yeah.
What did that mean? Like water bottle, shower? Like what were y'all doing?
No. I just kind of called him out and just told him, how proud I was of him for just being ready. Being ready. Sometimes there are guys that get into the game and doesn't play or is not in the rotation and they mope around a little bit. That never works out. So I really just wanted to commend him on what he was able to do, and the whole locker room just went crazy for him, because they feel the same way I feel. They see him in there working in the morning, at night, all the time, and everybody loves to see people get what they deserve, So it was a great moment for us.
Chauncey, the three ball, so he was one of 9 guys to make a three. Are you still telling them, hey, open look, get a three, or is that intuitive now? They know if I get a look, I've got to let it fly. And 2 centers that are hitting threes last night.
Yeah, I want us to let it go. I want us to, obviously, there's a time and feel to it. I don't want our guys, shooting a three with 22 seconds left on the shot clock, and nobody's touched the ball. But, yeah, I want us to be able to let those go. We work on it a ton. A lot of times we get those looks because we don't have, guys that have a huge reputation for being great shooters yet. So teams are willing to live with that, and so am I. I'm saying if we can create it the right way, attacking the basket, attacking the paint, and guys are wide open, let it go. Let it go. Just knock it down.
Where do you land on the conversation that's kind of being had right now about like how many threes, Boston and some of these other teams are shooting, and that kind of being just the way that the NBA is just kind of, is that a way that you would want to play if you had the personnel for it, or is that just, do you like that? Like how do you feel about kind of that whole?
Yeah. Shoot, if I had Boston's roster where they don't have one guy that is not a shooter, I would love to shoot as many threes as I could. That means I can score more. So I think it's all kind of based on the roster that you have naturally, but we know where the game is, and the more threes, the better for most teams, you know. But if you're us, we don't have, you know, a deadly three-point shooting team yet. So we got to find other ways to score. We got to crash the offensive glass and try to get second chance points. You know, we got to speed guys up, try to turn them over to scoring transition. So it all kind of depends, but I think I'm pretty sure every coach would like to have 13 shooters on their team.
Chauncey,
Make it pretty fun.
I'm sorry. Your disruptive stats, your blocks, your steals, deflections, they're all up. On the flip side, the transition and the live ball stuff has been poor. What do you account that for? Is that just trying to used to playing faster and capitalizing on the disruption?
Yeah.
Is that guys that aren't used to it? Where do you kind of think that goes?
It's getting used to it. It's getting used to it. I mean, obviously, one byproduct of trying to play faster is turning the ball over, you know, especially when you're young, you're inexperienced. So it just depends on the type of turnover for me. You know, if we're turning it over, trying to help our teammate, trying to be aggressive, chances are I'm going to be a little more lenient on that. But if we're just, like, being careless and no pressure, nobody forced us into it, we're just being lazy, it's hard. It's a bad turnover, you know. So they're all different. They're all different, and I just think that we're all just kind of getting used to it because, to be honest with you, I don't think we're playing very fast right now. You know, I think we should be playing faster.
You should be playing faster.
Yes.
Right now, I believe coming into tonight, you were 17th in pace. Like ultimately, I'm saying, where would you like to be? Do you want to be in the
I would like to
upper
be in
third?
I would like to be in the top third. You know, because the way that I feel about it is, why be this young and play slow? You know. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that we're not the small, quick team. I mean, we're big. So, but we're pretty athletic with our size. So, I'm still fine with that. You know. So I would like to be, if in a perfect world, be in that top third if we could. You know, we need to play a little faster.
Chauncey, you've had the pleasure or displeasure of watching the Thunder grow right before your eyes. They won 24 games your first year, 57 last year. How daunting is it to think about, you know, a rebuild you have going, and that's the type of team you have to chase in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years or whatever?
Well, honestly, it's been a pleasure to watch it. You know, it's not always pleasurable to play against them, you know, when they had those nights like we had last year. But it's been good seeing it. You know, they've done it the right way. They've built it correctly. I think Sam has been a master, you know, in how he's built it. And their player development has been big time. I think Mark is coaching the heck out of those guys, man. So they've done it every single way that you would like for it to be done. And it just gives us something to look at, you know. The way that they play is kind of the way that we've tried to play, you know. And I didn't particularly get it from them, but this is just what I believe in, pressure, you know, pressuring the ball defensively and then putting pressure on them with trying to push the ball, get into the paint. Just what I kind of believe in. So it validates what I feel, you know, as a coach and how I want to play. But it's been beautiful watching their ascension in a very short amount of time. You know, all of their players seem very focused about the game. They seem very focused about each other, you know, playing for one another. And that's the only way you really do it on a high level in our league is having guys that are willing to play for each other. You know, so it's been beautiful watching them.
Thank you, sir.
There you have head coach Chauncey Billups. Get to hear what he had to say. I called it, but I do like just right off the top, just loving Ryan Rupert and giving him just tons of praise and liking the fact that he went in and did the little things he needed to do early in that game. And even though he played limited minutes, he only played 7 minutes. But the thing is, you got to take advantage of those minutes when you get them, right? And he was able to take advantage. So you love that from Roops, and you love that the coach understands it, and you love the coach gives him those opportunities. I like that. And then that question about the team developing, I mean, you're right. He saw Oklahoma City develop right before his eyes. I get it. I don't know if it's a fair comparison. I mean, right, when Chauncey came in here, he had Dame and CJ, and this team was built just a little different. And then everything just unraveled right before his eyes when, you know, injury management and tanking and et cetera, it wasn't very great. But no, Oklahoma City is going to be used for a long time as, this is the blueprint. This is what happens when you don't sit on a star too long. You bounce off of him when you feel it's time because you need to reset, and you get assets and you get picks and you get ready to rebuild. I mean, how many people thought moving off of Paul George was a great idea? Moving off of Russell Westbrook was a great idea. Moving off James Harden at one point was a great idea. I mean, this team at one point had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden all on the same team, right? And they blew that thing up and rebounded and had great success behind Russ. And they end up getting Paul George in there, part of that Sabonis deal, which is crazy. Look at what Sabonis has turned into, right? And they get him there, and then Dame hits the bad shot, and Oklahoma City decides that, you know what, this ain't it. It's time to revamp. We got to be smart about this. And they got off of Paul George, and they brought in more talent, and then they got off of the face of their franchise, Russell Westbrook, and brought in more assets. And now they're a team that is very, very legit, going to be in contention to win a title, if not this year, but the next, and after that, the way they've built. Now, if they held on to Paul George and Russell Westbrook and just never let it go, where would they be? I mean, Russell Westbrook is a rotation player now. He's not the same triple-double machine that he once was. Paul George couldn't get it done in L.A., and now he has a chance to try to do it in Philly, but he's got to be on the court first. Like, they took that risk, understanding there was risk involved, and look where they are right now. They're one of the best young teams in the entire NBA, and the scary part about them is emphasis on the word young. They are a young basketball team, and you put talent with that youth, watch out, because they're going to be really, really good. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, I'm going to hit you with our Coors Cold Hard Facts. Got to do some research, see what I can bring to the table today. This is Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on X at Chris J. Burkhardt. Have a little fun. Carry on the conversation there. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and come talk to me there as well. Game day rolls on after the break here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Test. Test. There we go. I can try. I got time, right? All right, I'll do it right now. Testing. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, and it's time now for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. Apparently a fact that I just learned, even though I kind of knew it, is apparently I sound different on radio than I do in person. Had a call from a friend of, not a friend of the program, I'll call him a friend of the meat market for those of you who know the original steer, right? Good old Tyler Linhart down there from Dean's Home Style Cafe. Shout out Tyler Style Omelet, all right? He called me, he goes, are you on radio right now? I said, yeah. Why? He goes, because you don't sound like that in real life. Apparently I sound a lot different when I'm on radio. We do start to develop radio voices after a while, okay? It just happens. You get in the groove. Most of it is because I think you start to get into the groove what feels the the best on your vocal cords, right? Because this job can tear the old throat up. It can hurt it a little bit. But yeah, shout out to Tyler. As I said when he called, you know what? I don't care how my voice sounds. Thanks for listening. All right, now it is time, though, for an actual Coors Cold Hard fact. And I think factually, I think this team has got some young guys who are definitely starting to develop. And I think this is something the Blazer fans have wanted to see for a while. They've been frustrated because they have felt that they haven't seen that development, but it's starting to come around. I thought in that game against the Clippers to get that production out of Ryan Rupert, who last year was bouncing back and getting minutes at the G League and wasn't getting rotation minutes in the least, right? To get that performance from him and to come up big shows that he's progressing. I think you're starting to see better version of Scoot Henderson, which is exactly what you want to see. The maturation in a short amount of time of Toumani Camara has been absolutely refreshing, right? So these are things that you absolutely love to see. And you can't be upset about that, right? And then you got Donovan Clingan who's coming in, and Donovan Clingan has looked great. And so I think the young guys are there. I think the youth is pure in Portland. I think that they're definitely growing the way you want them to. And where this team continues to go from here, we will see. But I don't think you're too upset with it right now, because right now it's pretty darn good. It's absolutely pretty darn good. I just love the fact that the team's coming out and the young guys are getting run and they're taking their advantage of it and they're playing great. And I think I talked about this with you guys the other day, like the young guys like Denny Avdia. People don't realize Denny Avdia is one of the young guys. Like Kirk says in the chat, like I just want all the young guys playing. Like I agree, and a lot of people do too. But like Denny Avdia, I had someone come at us like, you know, play the young guys. Why is Denny getting play? Like Denny Avdia is younger than Toumani Camara. Like think about that. Like he's one of the young guys. He's absolutely one of the young guys. So that matters in all this. So continue to get those guys out there. I think as the season goes on and you start to see this roster build its way out, because I still think there's moves down the line, because you can't afford, unfortunately, to have like Ant and DA on this roster for the extended amount of time if you really do think that Scoot and Clingan are the guys that you want heading this thing, right? That you have to move on, and you have to clear the runway, so to speak. You have to give a spot for those guys to play. Now, makes sense right now just because, you know, you're going through the early part of the season. There's, you know, how often do you see a trade in November, right? But you got to go through it and you put your best foot forward and you got to showcase players and whatnot. But if you think those three guys are going to be your guys, you got to get them on the floor. You got to get them on the floor. And so we'll see how that builds out. But I think that the progression that they're showing is good, because it shows that they're learning and they're doing exactly what you want them to do. The big jumps. You saw the jump from year one to year two from Jabari, and I think he's better than he was last year already. It's just a matter of where does he fit in the team, because the team's loaded at that position right now. So how do these guys look? I think the biggest sign of if these guys are really progressing how you want will be when Shea finally gets on the court, which, you know, might be mid to end November. Like, how's he look? Like, he should take that third-year jump where he should be absolutely phenomenal, right? Well, that is a big question. That's an absolutely big question. But everyone who has been playing very well, and at least for my eye, has shown some of the progression we want to see. Has it been 100% everywhere you want to see? Like, no, they're still showing their holes, absolutely. And if you want to call them out, call them out. Just like we were calling out Scoot in the preseason for being just terrible on both sides of the ball and being lethargic. But in the regular season, he's turned it on a little bit. Maybe he's just not a preseason guy, one of those guys who's not a practice guy. He wants to get into the games that matter, right? But if you want to call him out, absolutely call him out. But you have to understand that you got to point out where the teams and the guys are looking good too. And again, the young guys I think are definitely looking good. Like Rupert's looking like he might eventually turn into a solid rotation wing at one point. He's still got a lot to learn. Like that's the reason he only plays 7 minutes when he does. Like watch him play. He still looks like a raw basketball player. But you see the flashes of, yep, he's putting it together. He's putting it together. He's looking like the guy that he calls his mentor, Nick Batum sometimes, right? Just the long arms, the quickness left to right, the ability to play defense. You love that. You love that. Kirk chimes in on the YouTube chat that he wants to see Kling Kong 5-minute run with Ayton. I do think that would be interesting. I've said this before. I want to see Ayton at the 4 in minutes. I don't think defensively not good enough to or quick enough to play that position for an entire game. But you can absolutely afford to play your 2 centers on the floor for 5-minute run. I mean, heck, Klingon's in there for only 12 minutes a game anyway. Why not do it? But you want to do that and then have teams come at you and try to beat you on the glass. Have fun, man. Have fun. See how that looks. I'm with you. I want to see it for a minute. Why not? Throw some stuff on the wall and see if it sticks. I want to see it. I want to see the 2 towers. Harken back to David Robinson and Tim Duncan for a little bit. Just 2 giant dudes down low that no one can beat. Kirk also says Scoot has an awesome work ethic. I'll let you speak on that. I've heard good things about Scoot as well. I haven't had a chance to see it, but he does seem like a guy who wants to work, right? A guy who wants to be good at this game. And he's got the God-given talent. It's just a matter of just putting it all together, man, getting all the puzzle pieces to fit. He shows it off in spurts, and that's what has been frustrating about Scoot to me, is that he shows off in little spurts. You'll see why he was a top 3 pick when he does stuff at the rim that not very many people can do, and then sometimes he'll do things on the defensive side or have a type of turnover where you scratch your head going, why was he a top 3 pick? So when he starts putting the good together more often, that'll be great. But I do think you're right. I think he's a guy who wants to work for that and wants to be great. So he wants to be what? He wants to be awesome. What was it different? I can't remember. What was his saying? It was something about being great. I totally just went down a rabbit hole and wasn't prepared for it. But he definitely wants to be that type of player. So I want to see it. I absolutely want to see it. I'm still excited to see the 2 guys who are injured right now, Robert Williams and Shaden Sharp. Get them on the floor. All I know is the performance we saw against the Clippers was great, and a lot of that was due to the young guys. So the young guys just need to keep coming out. They just need to keep firing. When you get a shot, man, take it, baby. Take it. When opportunity knocks, blow through the door. And I love that from this young team because you can tell that they're a bunch of dogs. I got a little Chihuahua at home. People say Chihuahuas like to nip your heels a little bit. These dogs are barking, and they're ready to get out there, right? They are nipping at that ball. They are ready to go hoop. And I like when they get a chance because when you get a chance, they do exciting things. All right, going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When you come back, I'm going to give you my keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do what they did in L.A., which is walk away with a victory when nobody thought they would because all the experts say they don't stand a chance against the undefeated Thunder, a team that's poised to be in the Western Conference Finals and win a championship and blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm with you. They're really good. But crazy things can happen. I'm going to tell you what needs to happen to win this game when we come back on Blazers Game Day. Test, test. Yeah, I can hear you. YouTube test. YouTube test. I don't think. I don't think so. Uh, yeah. Yeah, but it's messed up my audio. That's why I'm testing. I'm trying to fix it here on YouTube. They can hear me right now because I'm running some tests. I hope so. I was just making some of it. I think might have been getting out on YouTube. I don't know. That's why I was testing it. My thing got all messed up. Yeah, I don't know. Kirk, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to YouTube for a sec. Kirk, that's a good point. Thank you. He says, Chris, I've been the most positive on Scoot and Blazer Media. Well, I try not to be down on him. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. I'll bring it up actually in next segment for all the radio listeners. But I don't know if there's a point to be too down on him yet, Kirk. 1 year in, team's tanking. Like, you got to find the positive and take the positive, right? I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive once we get back onto radio, though. Thanks for staying tuned in while I'm just doing mic tests during commercial breaks. Yeah, but I try to be positive, Kirk. I try not to be too grumpy. I can be a grumpy guy sometimes. Still can't believe old Tyler called in. Guys gotta get out to Dean's Homestyle Cafe. I play some money. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back on radio here in just a sec. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It's time now for our keys to the game, and I'm just going to go right to the boards. I think a key to this one is that the Blazers need to be uber aggressive on the glass. Don't let the Oklahoma City Thunder get those second chance points easily. Don't let Chet get to work. You're going to need to do that. Again, this is the Blazers are a top 10 rebounding team right now. The Thunder come in. They are also a top 10 rebounding team, so you're going to get tested there. Just don't waver, don't wilt. Just keep going at it, just like you did against the Clippers, and I think it'll pay off. Another key to this game is understand that you might go through stretches in this game where the shot's not falling or the offense isn't moving the way you want. But get through that onto the next, and you'll eventually get your run. This is the type of team, the Thunder. You just gotta chip, and hope that at some point you can get through the defense. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder only allow opposing teams 94.8 points per game. That is the best number defensively in the NBA right now. which is impressive considering, as I pointed out the other day, that every single team in the NBA averages over 100 points per game. So right now, the Thunder are holding every single team below their average. Pretty good, right? So that's going to be an absolute test for you to get in there, get things done, and score. Scoring's not going to be easy against guys like Chet Holmgren and Dort, right? And SGA, who's a good defender. Like these guys are going to find ways to stick it to you and make you work. So you got to be ready to do that. You got to be ready to work for it. And the Blazers are going to do that. Also, I'm going to keep saying this one until the cows come home, but get the turnovers down. You got to get the turnovers down. You cannot afford to let teams like the Thunder get easy buckets. Right now, the Blazers average 17 turnovers per game, which is tied for 5th worst in the NBA. Right, so you got to get that number down. 17 turnovers against the Thunder, they're going to get out in space, and they're just going to tear you apart. And conversely, they don't turn the ball over very much. Oklahoma City only averages 11.5 turnovers, which is the 3rd fewest in the NBA. Right, so if you're turning over the ball a lot, they're not turning the ball over at all. One of you is getting a lot of points off turnovers, the other one isn't. Right, that's going to be a deciding factor in this game as well. So you got to take advantage of that. Now, again, this is going to be a very, very interesting game for guys like Scoot Henderson, though. One thing you noticed early with Scoot, especially against the Pelicans, and he had some moments there against the Clippers, is that if the team doesn't have a big or a great defensive big, especially, that's when he's going to attack the rim the most. When you have a big guy in there to lock down the paint, obviously becomes a little bit harder for Scoot. And right now, the Thunder, they have Holmgren, who's phenomenal, but as a team, they average 9 block shots per game, which is number 1 in the NBA. So you're going to have to find ways to hit those shots outside of the paint, too, and the Blazers have not been great with that three-point shot. So you got to find a way to get those three-point shots to fall as well, and then understand that, you know what, you might have a couple blocks when you attack the rim because they're just that good at it. I think at the same time, you got to get in here. You got to get in here and have a little fun and just attack the rim if you want. And I'm on air producing and showing people where the outlets are, kindly letting them use the extension here if they need it. It gives you like an extra foot, you know what I mean? It's the best we could do for you. I will gladly allow you to use my my surge protector in my outlet if you ever need to plug in. No problem, okay? But that's that on this Thunder game. I'm very excited to see Chet in person, get a chance to see this Thunder team, get a chance to see SGA again because he's one of my favorite players in the league for good reason. He's been phenomenal during his time in OKC. He's one of the best in the biz, and going to be good to see them. And it's going to absolutely be a test for the Blazers. What I want to see in this one, because I just think this is an absolute matchup nightmare for the Blazers, right? And so getting that win is going to be tough. I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight that you saw in the 2 Pelicans games. I want to see the fight that you saw in the Clippers game. And you know what? Even that Sacramento game, like Sacramento got up big and they made that run late because they just didn't stop fighting. So fight to the end. Man, keep it close. Make it a fun basketball game. Also, as someone pointed out on Twitter, tweeting at Sean Hyken, our Trailblazers insider, maybe this is a game where you get Klingon in there a little bit more. Let the big man go in there and go against Chet, who's another young big man. And it's like, this is the game. Like, let's go out there, play 20 minutes, get to work, big guy. Get to work, youngin. Let's get out there, have some fun. Like, I want to see something like that, absolutely. So that's my take on the Thunder. I want to get back to the YouTube chat real quick, though, where Kirk said, Chris, you've been the most positive on Scoot in the Blazer media. Okay, well, first off, thank you. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. It means I'm either right or I'm wrong, right? But here's my thing with Scoot, Kirk, is by any metric, he's having a very good start to year 2 for a point guard, right? He is having a very good start to the year for a second-year point guard. But because he was the 3rd overall pick, people look at it and like, oh, gosh, Scoot's struggling. Oh, Scoot had the turnovers again. Oh, Scoot did this. Scoot did that. And I think they're neglecting to point out the good that he's having, right? Because he's had some very nice nights, and he's putting it together. I mean, he's in his 2nd year. He's 20 years old, okay? He's 20. He is young as they come, right? And in year 2, 5 games in, coming off the bench, mind you, playing right now a minute less than he played per game last year, he's averaging 15.6 points per game, he's averaging 3.4 rebounds, averaging 5.6 assists. Like 15-5, that's great for a second-year guard. Just think about that. How many and right now he's your backup guard, and I get you want him to be your starter, you want him to be great, we all do, right? But sometimes it takes a player a minute to develop, okay? But he's coming in here and he's playing good minutes. He's taking advantage of them. Does he have the moments where it looks bad? Of course he does, because he's a second-year guard who, like I said, he ain't even old enough to drink yet, guys. He ain't even old enough to drink. He has to drink the sparkling cider on New Year's, right? Like everyone else popping champagne. He has grape flavored or apple flavored. I prefer the grape myself. Grape flavored, sparkling cider, good. Keep the sparkling cider away from me though. You bring grape sparkling cider near me, I'm gonna drink the whole thing. I'm gonna drink the whole thing. Push my kids out of the way. Say nope. You get that's over there. You get regular water. I want this sparkling cider. All right. But Scoot can't even drink yet. He's got the sparkling cider on New Year's, my man. Think about that. That's wild. So am I giving him a pass on his bad games, Kirk? Absolutely not. He ain't getting a pass because when he has the bat, I'll call him out. I called him out in the preseason where I thought he looked atrocious, right? But when he does, you can't sit here as a talking head and just poo-poo everything they do bad, and then when they do something good, ignore it. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. When he does something good, I'm going to tell you he's doing something good, and I like it. Now, some of the mistakes he's making, if he's still making those mistakes, in January and February, you start to get a little irritated. You want him to fix those. But right now, 5 games in, putting up decent numbers as a backup guard, second-year guard, I think he's okay. I absolutely think he's okay. Again, is there things he needs to work on still? Yes. Is there things you want him to be better at? Yes. Do you want him to be the starting guard of the future? Yes. I think those things will come. I absolutely think those things will come. Man, Blazers getting ready to take on the Thunder. Getting ready to have some fun here at Moda Center. The music means it's time to go. But don't go anywhere, because in 5 minutes' time on the Blazers Audio Network, Chad Doing will have the Blazers pregame show tip-off at 7 p.m. right here on Rip City Radio 620 with our friend Travis Demers on the call as always. And then when the game ends, right back here, Rip City Radio 620, or on our YouTube page, where you can join the conversation on the 5th quarter with Chris Burkhardt. And hopefully we're all happy breaking down a Blazer win. Plenty more content coming and an awesome game against the Thunder coming up on Rip City Radio.